What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, I am MLB Chatterbox, aka Christian Corey, and you see the title and the thumbnail in today's video. It's probably gonna be a shorter one. Not a lot of baseball news. I mean, there's news, but there's not a lot of big news. Not a lot of big league news. So, not a lot of big news, but there is news nonetheless. So, we are news here, and we like to talk about baseball all the time in any way, shape, or form we possibly can. And that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. Some news and notes, really some news and notes from around the league. Transpiring the past couple 48 hours. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, guys, the first news story they're going to talk about that I thought caught my eye a couple of days ago involves the Minnesota Twins. And yeah, the Twins they're doing pretty good, I guess, but they're not doing phenomenal. They do have almost 20 wins, 19-10 currently, as it stands on a Sunday at 5:37 p.m. as I am filming this. But you know, the Indians are creeping up on them, and you know, the Indians are game back. They just lost like a couple minutes ago to the Tigers. They lost 2 out of 3 in that series, but the Twins are not looking too good. They got the Indians on their tail, and something went down in Minnesota, the Twin Cities, something negative, and it kind of caught my eye. And the two guys that the Twins have placed on the disabled list, or the injured list, whatever you want to call it, I call it disabled list. There's 2 pitchers, and one pretty prominent. And the first pitcher is Jake Odorizzi, and the second pitcher is Zach Little. Now, obviously, what caught my eye was the Odorizzi one. I mean, Zach Little, no disrespect, but he has he almost has a 10 ERA. He gave up 12 hits, 3 walks, only 3 strikeouts. No disrespect to him, but you know, he's not the guy who makes a headline in this story. But you know, Jake Odorizzi, you know, is a name to me that really makes this story a headline, I guess you could say, because Jake Odorizzi had a very, very good year last year with the Twinkies. Back in 2019, he was 29 years of age, made his first All-Star team last year. He was 15-7. He pitched almost 160 innings, 159 innings, had 178 strikeouts, and a 3.51 ERA. Not too shabby for the right-handed pitcher from Illinois. So, you know what? You know, to be quite honest, you know, Jake Odorizzi is a good pitcher. This year, you know, he's not doing great. He has a 8.10 ERA. You know, he only pitched 10 innings. How many games? Only pitching 3 games. Not good. He is 0-1 on the young season. I guess if you want to call it still young. But he's just not doing good. And his injury just really, you know, takes the breath out of you. Literally, and out of him, because you know, if you haven't seen the injury, it was a pretty brutal injury. I should get to that. You know, he had they're labeling it as a chest concussion. Now, Odorizzi has a chest concussion, and Little has an elbow inflammation. Now, just to get back to Little a little bit, but just to get back to Little, elbow inflammation. I mean, not that big of a deal. You know, flares up a little bit. 10-day DL, whatever. He'll be fine. You know, that's not the headline in this story, I guess you could say. But the real story is, you know, Jake Odorizzi and his injury. His injury is being labeled as a chest concussion. And you're thinking, a chest concussion, how the heck did he get that? Well, courtesy of Alex Gordon. That's how. Because a couple of nights ago, on August the 22nd, he was facing Kansas City. In Kansas City, he was down 4-1 in the 4th inning. A man on first, nobody out. A 1-2 count to Alex Gordon. And so I will have you take a look at the clip now, and I will give you my opinion on it and my reaction to this injury to Jake Odorizzi right after this.
That hit Odorizzi, and there'll be runners at first and second. And where did it get him? Right above the elbow, it appeared. Well, maybe it didn't get the arm, but it got the rib cage and stayed. Maybe that's
Okay, guys, you just saw the clip, and it looked like a pretty brutal injury. It's never good when a ball comes back at you, probably 100+ miles an hour. It looked like it was a off-speed pitch. It was only 86 miles an hour from Odorizzi, but it could obviously be up into the high 90s and mid 90s off the bat, possibly in 100. You never know. But he got beamed right in the ribs. It looked like, or in the chest, in the ribs. So they're labeling it as a chest concussion. And to me, a chest concussion doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound like something that he could necessarily be back, in a couple days from. He got beamed pretty good. All right, guys, now I'm going to read you a quote from Odorizzi himself in this ESPN article on the story. And this is what Odorizzi says on the injury himself, his own words. He says, quote, "I saw the replay and it missed my elbow by a couple of inches. All things considering, I feel pretty lucky to have missed that. I'll be good in a little while. I just have to manage the soreness." So, basically, he sounds like he's pretty confident about coming back. But, to the chest, to the ribs, you never want to see that. That's like the second worst thing from going to the head. If you really want to get hit anywhere, you like to get hit probably like the butt or the thigh or the leg. You really don't want to get hit anywhere from the waist up. You don't want to get hit at all, obviously, but if you had to, probably from the waist down, except for that special area.
Help! She's touching my special area!
But basically anywhere from the waist down is okay, but what am I saying? Okay, but is I guess you could say not as bad, and could bounce back from it fairly quickly if he's lucky. But anywhere getting hit from the waist up is not a good sign. It will be interesting to see if he comes back A-okay. This was just a really interesting story. I saw it, and guys get hit, and if he's out for a couple of days, this could be bad for the Twinkies. Although he's not doing great here in 2020, he's still an arm that's missing from that rotation. And you know what? Like I say, the Indians are on their tail. The Indians are being the Indians. Again, they just lost today to the Tigers. And if the Indians did sweep the Tigers, they'd be in first place right now. I'm pretty sure, at least darn close to it. Because they're only like a game and a half game back. So, he has to get back. And the Twins are, although you don't have to win the division necessarily or be the top seed to make the playoffs here in 2020, you still like to, say that you're the champions of your division, because it just sounds better, it feels better, you feel like you're first place, you feel like you earned it, you didn't feel like you got like a bye or something, or you just snuck in. But I'm sure they'd love to win the division again here in 2020 and prevent the Indians from doing that here in the shortened season. But all things aside, this is not good news for the Twins. It's never good news, but especially now. You're kind of like mid-season, I guess you could say. You're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Teams who are not going to make the playoffs are starting to fall off. You can kind of see it. Tigers, Royals, Giants, Red Sox, teams like that, they're starting to fade away. But this team is right in there in the hunt, and they want to win that division. And Odorizzi being out is not won't help them in that cause in any way, shape, or form. So that's topic number one. All right, guys. Story number 2 of the day involves the Houston Astros. Yes, the Houston Trastros, or the Astros. I have to talk about them because this is pretty interesting. Apparently, they have shut down their alternative training site, which is basically the minor leagues. One of them, because every team has an alternative training site for some of their top minor leaguers to still stay in shape and get at-bats and so forth. But it's all basically inter-squad games down there. But with that being said, the Astros have shut down their alternative training facility in Corpus Christi, Texas. And why? Well, why would they? What do you think would make them shut down anything here in 2020? Because the guy had diarrhea? No, because the guy had COVID-19. Somebody had COVID-19 here in 2020. This is General Manager James Click. James Click, confirmed that there was one positive test at the facility. The decision to shut down the site was made out of a, quote, abundance of caution. While the team goes through Major League Baseball's contact tracing and testing protocols, the big league team is currently unaffected. Basically, they closed down their minor league site, or their alternative site, or where their minor leaguers play here in 2020. So basically, they closed down like a minor league facility. Why is this important? Why is this making news? Why am I talking about this? Well, because I just feel like, you know, everybody's going to have a positive test here in 2020. This is not new. People, you know, there's a bunch of players in the MLB. There's thousands of players in the MLB, and in the minor leagues also. So, you know, it's bound to have, somebody's going to have this virus. It's just bound. Someone's going to have it, or get tested positive for it, or have side effects of the virus, or not feel good. And you know, I'm doing this because who really knows? I mean, seriously, who really knows if these guys do have the virus or not? Again, Trevor Bauer, a great example. He got tested positive, but it was a false positive. He didn't have symptoms. He did not feel good. He got tested positive, or a false positive, and it came back false positive. So it's not like he was sick. It's not like he was throwing up. He didn't have a fever. He didn't have a cough. He didn't have you know, diarrhea. Nothing. He didn't have any of those symptoms, or didn't feel good. He felt fine, he said, in his YouTube channel, and, you know, Momentum. But you know, a lot of these guys in the MLB and in sports are, you know, they're saying they're testing positive for COVID. And, you know, I'm a little skeptical of the fact that all these guys are really testing positive for this virus. Not that they're testing positive, because there could be false positives, but again, are they really sick? Are they dying? Are they, you know, are they not feeling good? Nobody has gone to the hospital, not that I know of, here in the MLB. No player has, like, gone to the hospital and said, oh my God, this guy's going to the hospital and we got to get him in there immediately or he's going to die. Now, Freddie Freeman did say he felt like he was going to die when he did have COVID in the beginning of the season, but did he go to the hospital? I don't think so. I don't think he went to the hospital. No one's been going to the hospital with this, and I don't think it's a great idea to go to the hospital. This brings up a very interesting discussion topic. So, I mean, if you have one guy, I don't care who it is, whether it's a player, personnel, the bat boy, anybody who's around these major and minor league players test positive, and they just shut down the whole series. I mean, the Mets series got shut down because somebody on the Mets tested positive. I think it was a personnel guy. I think it was two guys tested positive, one player, one personnel. I don't remember the names, but, you know, it's stuff like that. And if this happens, if this is going to consistently happen, it looks like it's going to happen unless we get a vaccine, which doesn't seem like it's coming in the near future. But, you know, if we don't get a vaccine until next year, this is going to happen throughout the whole season. We all know that. However, the question is raised of, okay, let's say you get to the playoffs, right? Because obviously they're shutting down games, they're shutting down series. The Cardinals haven't played any games. They only played like, what, 15 games or something crazy like that. They haven't really gotten rolling when it comes to their schedule and their season. And God knows if they're going to play the full 60 games. Are the Cardinals going to play, 55? Or are they going to play 50? Are they going to play 48? Who knows? My point is that if players are testing positive, whatever, they're sick or not, they say they test positive. And again, we don't know if they're sick or not, or if they're symptomatic or asymptomatic or what. We don't know that for sure as fans, because they're not telling us that. But point being is that if a player does test positive, let's say, for example, during the playoffs, let's say, I mean, there are going to be 8 teams make the playoffs or something, right? Something crazy like that, 6, 7, 8 teams. So when you got like 6, 7, 8 teams making the playoffs, almost half the leagues make the playoffs. There's a lot more guys in the playoffs. A lot more players will be playing. A lot more players will be playing into mid-fall, possibly, or mid-November. You never know. But if this is going to continue like this, if people are going to test positive like this, if one guy is going to test positive, amongst the whole 40-man roster and coaches, then, and then they got to shut it down, the playoffs will never happen. Because I guarantee you this. I mean, let's say, okay, first round of the playoffs. Let's say the Yankees and the Twins play in the playoffs together, right? And they're in New York, and it's fall, okay? They're outside, it's fall. And it's like, I don't know, 50-something degrees. And, okay, they play game 1, great, Yankees win, whatever. And then they play game 2, whatever, Twins win. And then they go from New York to Minnesota. And during that travel time, that one day off, someone tests positive, right? Someone tests positive, whoever it is, whether it's on the Yankees, whether it's on the Twins, whether it's a player, a manager, a bat boy, anything. If someone tests positive during that off day or that travel time from New York to Minnesota, then what would happen, as we know now, what I would assume would happen, or what we can anticipate of happening if that certain scenario does occur, they would, shut down or cancel the series. And they can't cancel a series. But if it was regular season, they would do that. They would cancel the series or postpone it. And if you're in the playoffs, that can't happen. I mean, this could happen in the first round, happen in the second round, the third round, the fourth. It could happen in the World Series. It could happen anytime, anywhere. And, and let's say the Dodgers and the Yankees play in the World Series. And they're on two different coasts. One's on the west, one's on the east. And they're going back and forth. So let's say it goes to Game 7. Let's say someone tests positive during Game 6. After Game 6. Then they're going to cancel, wait till Game 7, till the next 2 weeks. What if someone tests positive right slap dab in the middle of a series? Are they going to cancel the whole series? Or postpone it or wait it out for the next week? I mean, that can't happen. They will never get the season in. Never. No way. Because, again, this is just scratching the surface. This stuff. I mean, like you see with the Cardinals had a bunch of guys test positive, and they haven't played in like 2 weeks, it seems like. And they're just trying to get started again. And it's interesting how it's going to work. And in this situation, this is an alternative training site. Alternative. This is a minor leagues. These stuff, they're not even playing games down there. They're not even playing legit games that matter. Whether minor leagues or major leagues, they're not playing games. They're not. These games don't matter. So if you got one guy down in the minor leagues testing positive or not feeling good, and that shuts down the whole operation down in your alternative training site or your minor leagues, which don't mean anything, especially now because they're not playing any games with other teams. If that shuts that down, God only knows what will happen, during the playoffs or the rest of the season. Who knows if we're going to make it to the playoffs or not? I don't know. If that happens, are they going to say, all right, you know what? We'll wait. We'll wait till the spring. We'll have the World Series in February. We'll let the winter go by, and we'll have the World Series in February. Because they're going to have to play in November. It's going to get cold in November. It's not everybody's in Los Angeles. Now they could have a bunch of teams play in Los Angeles, or not Los Angeles, but in California for the playoffs. That is a possibility. Everybody play in the West where it's warmer, or the South. That is a possibility. That was an idea for a video that might be coming up more towards playoff time. I will not go deep into that, but that could be a possibility. But with this COVID stuff, if one nobody tests positive, literally a nobody, it could be a bat boy. I mean, who cares? Because they're around the players. If some nobody tests positive right now in minor leagues, which it doesn't matter, you better watch out, fellas, because I don't know if we're gonna get the season in or the playoffs in. It'll be interesting to see. But that's topic number 2 of today's video. All right, guys. Topic number 3 in today's video involves a veteran player of the San Francisco Giants. Yes, Hunter Pence has apparently been DFA'd by the San Francisco team. Hunter Pence, a veteran, a very good player in my eyes. I know a lot of people don't like him. They think he's unorthodox. They don't like his swing. They don't like this. But he is a winner, guys. I've always loved this guy. He kicked the Tigers' butt back in 2012. Handed it to him. He was, flipping seeds in the air. He was Mr. Cheerleader for that squad in the Giants. He helped them win, all 3 of their World Series, 10, 12, and 14. He was part of every single one, or I do believe it was every single one. He might not have been part of 2010. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was. But regardless, he is a great, great player. I love this guy. It's sad that he's got DFA'd by the Giants, though. It is sad that he's got DFA'd by the San Fran team. But on the flip side, not surprising. Why do I say not surprising? Well, for one, the Giants suck. The Giants are bad. And, if you don't know what DFA means, or designated for assignment is the official term or the word, I'll read you the definition from MLB.com. It says, quote, when a player's contract is designated for assignment, often abbreviated as DFA, that player is immediately removed from the club's 40-man roster. Within 7 days of the transaction, the player can either be traded or placed on irrevocable outright waivers. Okay. Also says if the player is claimed off said waivers by another club, he's immediately added to the team's 40-man roster, at which point he can be opted to the minor leagues if he had minor league options remaining, or assigned to his new team's 26-man roster. It was 25 prior to the 2020 season. If the player clears waivers, he may be sent outright to the minor leagues or released. Players with more than 3 years of minor leagues service time or who have been previously outright may reject the outright assignment in favor of free agency. So basically when he's DFA'd, he could be on waivers. They could bring him back. The Giants could, but if I was a team, I'd pick this guy up lickety-split. I love Hunter Pence, and he has to go to like a team that's young, that's a little inexperienced, needs that fire. Everybody needs that guy who's just a spark in the lineup, not in the lineup, but in the clubhouse. You need that clubhouse guy, because clubhouse chemistry, I believe, is a big thing in baseball. And you need a guy that pushes you. I hate that baseball. Baseball's played like, oh, we'll get him next time. There's no baseball. There's no rah-rah like in football, where the captain gets up and he stands up on the bench in the clubhouse and he yells at his guys and says, "You guys better, start winning or else," or cussing and swearing. Like that's not baseball traditionally as we know it. But this guy seems like that guy. I remember 2012, game number 3 or 4, whatever it was. He's in the dugout, flipping them seeds up in the air, getting them boys pumped up. And he can do that same thing for another team here in 2020. Literally anybody could pick him up. The Cubs could pick him up. I think he'd be great on the White Sox, because they're kind of that inexperienced team. They haven't been in the playoffs, in a while. It looks like they're going to make the playoffs this year. He'd be a great team for a team like the White Sox or the Cubbies or the Indians. He can be good on literally any team that is not called the Yankees or the Dodgers. The reason why I say not the Yankees or the Dodgers is because the Yankees are just so good that it's not like he wouldn't really make a difference. They're just skyrocketing now. Their playoff woes are a factor. We'll see how it happens. It's a longer playoff picture this year, it seems like. So maybe they will need him. But a team like the Dodgers, they don't need him. They're just so packed. I don't think they have any room for him, to tell you the truth. He probably wouldn't want to go to LA anyways, or New York. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy who would like the big glitz and glamour of the big cities. But he could work on a team like the Twins, the White Sox, again, like I've said, the Cubs, the Braves, literally any team that's in it. The Rays, would be a great fit for him, because Rays are that pesky kind of club, that really no one thinks of, but they'll take your eyes off the Rays, they'll get you. They'll sting you when you're not expecting it. But I think Hunter Pence being DFA'd by the Giants is a little bit surprising, just because he's been a Giant for so long. I know he was an Astro at first, but he's really a Giant. But he's been a Giant for so long. He's had success there. He has won. A little bit surprising just because of that. But again, on the flip side, not surprising. They're not good. Bumgarner's gone. Posey is just there. The glory days of 10, 12, and 14 are gone in the rearview mirror, and he can provide his services for another club, and I think he'll do just as good anywhere else here in 2020. So, yeah, guys, that's all I got for you today. Like I said, short little video, a lot of news and notes, not a lot of big news coming out of the MLB these past couple of days. Just kind of saw some things that caught my eye and I thought would be interesting to talk about here on the channel. So that's it, guys. If you liked today's video, leave a thumbs up on it. Subscribe if you haven't at like 270 something subscribers or something like that. And yep, if you like the video, leave a like on it, subscribe, ring the bell if you want to ring the bell too. Turn those notifications on. Let you know when news is coming out on this channel and content is pumping on this channel as usual. But as always, guys, I'm going to catch you guys later.